Thank you so much, Taha. So I think we're going to keep the mic moving along. And next, I want to call up someone who actually came to know about us through our, I think, 2019 MFA Diwali performance. So every year, Subdrift does like a curated performance at the Museum of Fine Arts that many of our performers have gotten a chance to be a part of. Many of you have probably seen. And so I want to call up to the mic a first time performer. So this is someone who's going to be on our stage for the first time. So throw extra chat love in the chat. And he's going to be sharing some, I think, prose with us, maybe some storytelling, whatever it is. It's going to be amazing. So give it up for Vinayak, everyone.
Hey, thanks for the introduction. I'm super excited to be here. And I had written this last week when things felt more hopeful and springy. So just throwing that out there. But here goes, hope. And so with the sunshine and the great burst of leaves growing on the trees, just as things grow in time-lapse movies, I have the familiar conviction that life is beginning over again with the spring. This time around, we are not going to let it pass us idly by. This one crazy, painful purgatory of a year has instilled a sense of urgency and fragility in its survivors. They recognize the ancient truth more clearly through the fog than a lot of people have for a very long time. Life is very short, and that it will end is the only guarantee. Hope might be the correct response to the human condition, but this past year has in equal measure disabused us of our unbridled optimism as it has inspired confidence in humankind. A universal enemy was not enough for us to unite as a species. We were still beset by obstacles and opportunities. We had no shortage of demagogues who would strip communities of a fighting chance at survival if it meant some transient gain was in the offing for them. No, progress is not guaranteed. Positive change is not a given. Our survival as a species is not a certainty. Equity, equality, and justice are not the natural byproduct of progress. The arc of the universe does not do autopilot very well. It needs to be bent in the correct direction because self-interest, tribalism, and survival instinct hacking are mighty foes that have the advantage of being the path of least resistance, even if it is out of guile for the few and out of desperation for the many. But hope indeed is a thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings in the tune without the words and never stops at all. I've heard it in the chillest land and on the strangest sea, and I've heard it in the midst of a devastating pandemic. Even when we felt alone, we weren't really, because we were a part of a vast and deeply interconnected us. It is true that the world has been getting better at an astonishing pace by every conceivable global metric. It is also true that the stories of kindness and generosity, of going above and beyond, were not hard to find in 2020. Good news, whether it is the slow creep of reduction in instances of preventable communicable diseases like polio, or the fact that most charities received a record amount of small donations in the midst of a global recession, do not make their way to either the parchment or the pixels of our nonstop news because it is not urgent and not clickbaity enough. Nevertheless, it is true. Every time we think as a species, we have measured our capacity to meet a challenge. We just need to look around, albeit at the not easy to find but omnipresent instances, and we are reminded that that capacity may well be limitless. T.S. Eliot famously wrote that light is the visible sign of the invisible light. Human desire to do good, to be good, is that invisible light for me. We just need to keep working towards a more perfect world, not just for our tribe, however we may define that, but for all tribes. I have learned that certainty is a lie. The world is dynamic, fleeting, and ever-changing. We just need to open our eyes to its maddening pace, Treasure every moment, leave every moment behind, and go work to fight for and build a world that we can be proud of. After all, we are capable of greatness. We are made of star stuff. Thank you.
Give it up for Vinayak, everyone. First time on the mic sharing that beautiful reflection with us. I think people in the chat and in the audience really loved just the joy and the thoughtfulness you brought to the mic, like the empowerment and how you talk about hope as such an active thing. I think it's this abolitionist organizer from Chicago named Miriam Kaba who said hope is a discipline, and I feel like that really sums up like the empowerment in your words and this idea that like we can build the worlds that we want right now. So thank you for joining us on the mic. I think we just really needed that energy.
Yes, thank you, Vinayak. First time on the Subdrift stage. We hope you'll keep bringing that talent back because it's just such a boost to all of us right now. So we appreciate you stepping up into this stage and want everyone to know that this is a stage where you can try things out for the first time and be welcomed.